Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present. So, I never thought I'd have the pleasure of talking about this game again, but I have to start you guys off with a little backstory.
Long-time viewers of this channel will know that I did a quick view of this game a long time ago when I was still figuring out how to create content. While it hasn't aged the best, the video I mean, this game sure has. GravitreX started life in an 80s-themed Swedish Game Awards competition in 2009, which it won. Martin, the developer, would later port and expand the game to Android devices, and in 2014, Project Product produced a couple arcade units, and it wasn't long after when I first learned about the game. At the third ZapCon arcade convention in Arizona, Project Product had a booth displaying the game. I was there doing a photo assignment for high school, and when I played this, I thought it was cool. When I went to Starfighter's Arcade the next weekend, I was surprised to see the machine front and center. I played it more and got hooked. Me and my arcade buddy Jody became a pretty good team. We even won second place in the following ZapCon competition. I have this glass to prove it, to drink my second place sorrows. After that, a new version came out that in all honesty we didn't like, adding more levels and damage indicators that required changing our overall playing strategy. Another problem was that the upright machine started to constantly break, so it wasn't long before it was moved off the arcade floor, and it really hasn't shown up since.
This is where the machine used to sit with all the other Vector games. I'm not quite sure where the original is now, but I do know where another cabinet is.
The cocktail cabinet was such a unique sight when I first saw it. Its design is very original with two screens, one for each player. It's the cab I made the Qube with, and it's how we were initially introduced to the new version. I haven't had to think about this game in years, until January 31st of this year, when I got an unexpected email. Martin, the developer, saw my video from all those years ago and reached out. He informed me that GravitreX was coming to Steam and gave me a Steam key to try it out before it released on March 3rd.
It's now April 24th as this video goes up, and I played it enough to give my definitive viewpoint on one of my favorite indie games ever. Now, a lot has changed from its initial release and now, so I'll try to address all that has changed later. For now, we'll start off with how I know to play it. So it's my pleasure to reintroduce to you GravitreX Arcade. I said GravitreX, I don't even know what that is.
I initially had difficulty describing this game, but the description on Steam clued me in. Have you ever played Lunar Lander?
Well, GravitreX cranks this up to an 11.
The goal is to get your ship or ships from their starting position over to the opposing landing platforms. But you got all these physics to work with. Each ship is controlled with two buttons. One will control the right thruster while another controls the left. You also have a grapple hook that can be used in multiple ways, like getting boxes out of the way or moving them elsewhere to help you advance. So I'm playing this in single player mode where I have to switch between both ships and get them on the platforms. There's an additional button to do that, but I wish I could play two players like the good old days, but I'll come back to that. The first several levels I know by heart by this point, so I made it through those in a breeze. Though I may make it look easy, that doesn't mean you should go zooming about all willy-nilly, because you got two things to keep an eye out for: your fuel and your damage meters. When you land both ships safely with both thrusters on the platform, you'll move on to the next level, all the while getting points for whatever fuel you had left. So you're basically playing for fuel consumption, and you'll want to use as less fuel as you can. You'll also want to play gently, as you can get damaged in various places that could affect your ship's overall performance from your thrusters, grapple hook, among others. If you want to know what each acronym means, it's at the start of a game before you're dropped into the first level. If you do get damaged, you'll be alerted by the annoying robo voice, reminding you every step of the way that the
thruster, compensator, safety valve, grapple hook. Damage.
You can shut that up with a different button, but it's so out of place with all the other buttons, not to mention dickish, I take the pain in my ear holes and try to land quick.
Now, not only will your fuel count for points, but your indicators will count too, which can be good or bad depending on how damaged they are. If any are damaged in any capacity, there will be a point deduction on that indicator.
My Like I said, I didn't initially like this addition to the game, as I'd like to play a little loose and free of real worry of exploding or difficulty in my actions. But replaying this game again and refamiliarizing myself with the controls made me look at this game and play it differently.
By level 10, you'll come across your first real challenging level with half duplex. In my experience, there's no way you'll come out of this without getting damaged, as you got a tight crevice you have to awkwardly fit your ship through. It's a tough level, but doable, with more challenging levels to come, and I have a strategy to overcome most of them. I try to see if I can use one ship to do most of the work. That way, even if one ship uses most of the fuel and gets slightly damaged, I have an unfazed ship ready to get from point A to point B without issue. Most of the time. It's my preferred way to preserve fuel, and it may not work with every level, but it can come into play on most, I find. It also helps that I have more experience than the average player with this game, so I have the power of memorization to not fall for the trap some levels can lay.
What's the strat I'm getting at? Get good, bruh.
I really should comment on the level design as a whole. It's really top form. Some ways simplistic, other ways thought-provoking. You might find yourself overthinking on what may be a simple solution on a couple levels like I have in the past. Other times it's straightforward but hard to execute. I've got my favorites like Walker, where it requires precision maneuvering to not disturb the teetering towers that could block your way in. But I'm able to avoid that with grace, and it's fun the rest of the way too. Pull down is very simple but still fun, as it requires you to go upside down to pull the blockade away. I once got the block that falls down to land straight up, and it wasn't when I was recording. And I've been trying to do it again ever since. I also have the ones that I despise, but that may depend on the day's performance. Fuel Crisis is a level that has been the bane of my GravitreX life. You have very little fuel to start off, so you have to hook both ships together and get through the whole course the best way you can. It can be hard to get through some parts on some occasions, and the whole experience can be frustrating, as you might get stuck more than once. I usually find myself having to sacrifice ships here due to being empty on fuel or getting stuck.
Did I mention there was a self-destruct button?
You might sometimes get a ship stuck in a couple ways, whether it be by accident or the fuel just ran out without you noticing. And if you're unable to fix the issue or don't think it's worth it, it may be best to blow it up and start again. You get an additional ship in reserve every 30,000 point mark, so they're very fruitful early in the game, and I'm not afraid to sacrifice a ship when necessary. But having spare ships do play a key part at the end of the game, and even during if you go over 10, and I'll get to that soon. There is an end to this game, as there's only 35 levels in the main game. As I've talked about the ones I like and dislike, most of the other levels are fairly decent. You have levels like Cellar Door that can help you master a slingshot technique that I like to use often. Swallowed as well as Pagona can be tight squeezes that I know I can pull off perfectly with one ship, but struggle really hard with the next. Then you got others like
Yggdrasil.
One more time.
Yggdrasil.
Very good. That voice is of Martin, one of the devs. We've been in constant contact since he gave me the code, and he eventually wanted to watch me play one session. Over time, I gave him some advice that he would later implement, like the addition of control hints on the first couple levels and a few new things that I'll have to save for later. He didn't give me hints, but we mostly compared our strategies and differed greatly on how we handle ships. For example, in the level U-Haul, you have to move all the boxes to get through the little hole where the platforms are. I use one ship to move all the boxes. Once it runs out of fuel, I self-destruct and get back on track. I may lose one ship, but my other still has a full tank, and I'll more than likely get my life back. Martin, on the other hand, uses one ship to move what he can, park the ship once it's critically low, and let the other ship do the rest.
I don't find that sound in my quest for high points, but again, it's a difference in strategy, and he is one of the developers, so I gotta respect his way. But in the end, we all have the same goal in mind, and that's getting to the end.
Once you pass level 30, that being Fuel Crisis, you'll have just 5 more levels left. They'll each have their own challenges, some easy, others hard. I don't necessarily want to tell you exactly what to do on the final two, as most of my time was spent there. What I will say is your auto-hovering option, which is also a thing, will come into play on Descent, and Archimedes isn't too hard after it.
Rest assured, I did beat the game and came to find out after you beat it, your remaining ships will be counted up for extra bonuses. Now I know what Martin meant when he said every ship is sacred.
Final score is over 550,000. Not bad for a first complete run, and I was the second guy to complete it too. I'll happily be a part of the Prime 5.
It's pretty obvious that I have nothing but positive praise for this game from my years of experience, and the gameplay is just simply fun in general. But if I had to say something negative about it, I have at least 2 gripes, but they're small.
For one, on Steam, I don't have the luxury of playing with the arcade controls I'm used to, so I have to use the keyboard, which is fine, but I would like to be able to change the button configuration, especially for player 2. Luckily, Martin put in plenty of options to configure the controls you can use, but seeing as I don't have that option in-game, and I'm admittedly ignorant on how to rework that on Steam, it's a bit of a bummer for me. I'd like to play with my buddy Jody again locally without making it awkward.
Again, that's a small gripe that can easily be solved if we play 2-player online a few different ways. But I am thankful for one thing. I'm glad I got a key to play this game because it beats paying full price, which is, ready for this? It costs $18.
From my perspective, as much as I like this game, that price is not worth it at this stage, especially when the arcade version would have cost a quarter or more if it wasn't on free play.
I mean, if you take all 35 levels and divide it with 18, each level would be worth 0.514 cents. Was there a point I was going for there? I'm not sure. Oh wait, it's expensive. I asked Martin directly why the big price, and he reassured me the price had purpose, as more content and levels would be added in due time, and I can exclusively reveal to you guys what he has in the works.
So, I was lucky enough to get access to a new beta to try out all the new levels. They're all sectioned off where you got the original arcade levels, lost levels, and the new challenge. Of course, we'll start with the tongue-in-cheek reference to Mario, but the name will make sense when I tell you why it's named such. All these levels are those left over from the Android version of the game, where I believe there were 50 in that version. I never did get a chance to play the Android version, so it's nice to finally play all the levels that were cut from the arcade. There's plenty of unique ideas that would have no doubt frustrated me more if they were kept in. A couple of them I struggled to get through, but what really got me was trying to land upside down.
Clever.
The new challenge are all brand new levels. Granted, there aren't many yet, but more are going to be built up in the future. Maybe a DIY GravitreX maker is in order. There were incredibly low fuel levels that made up most of this list, and I just love not having enough fuel. But there was also a level that I designed. No joke. I just sketched it out and Martin made it happen, and I'm very appreciative to add to the GravitreX library of levels as opposed to the Hall of Fail. I'll emphasize again real quick that this is a work in progress and this isn't a finished concept. There's still a few tweaks the beta has to go through before it releases, and when it's supposed to release, I have no idea yet.
Martin also said he's trying to add more features too while he's at it, like individual high scores for every level and special features requested by the Prime 5. That'll hopefully come in time. For now, all I can really say is sit back, relax, and enjoy what you have now, as it's only gonna get better from here.
I would have said the base game alone is worth trying, but maybe not for the price tag it has. But with the promise of more good green shit in the horizon, now the price is getting more appealing and fair. Like, I'm looking forward to y'all playing this game if you can. You won't be disappointed at all, and you'll more than likely have more to work with when you inevitably purchase it in the future. If you so happen to beat this game, do let me know. I actually have to go on another run as my original score isn't up to par right now. Here's to me reaching 600k, but I still have first on 2-player mode.
So, with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
It has been way too long since I played this game last. Luckily, not too long to where I missed the beat. Never really thought I'd be able to share more of my love for this game again, but here we are. GravitreX is a solid callback to vector games with a modern twist. The gimmick alone is fantastic. Level designs can range, but always bring fun and challenge. And with more coming on the way, there's going to be more to enjoy or yell at to the top of my lungs. If my opinion means anything to those watching, I recommend you getting this game when you can. At least when the new content arrives or when it goes on sale. Then you can get more worth with your buck. Either way, it's a hit you shouldn't sleep on, and you and a friend too can all enjoy this game in style. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.